Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for very kind introduction. And then thank you so much for sticking around. This is kind of late already, but I hope you will find this last presentation relevant and useful. We'll see. If you get bored, feel free to snore. Can you snore? No. Let's try. Let me talk about my university just very briefly. Hamline University, actually not Hamline, although it's spelled like Hamline. So a lot of people call us Hamline, but we are Hamline because it was founded by the bishop of who migrated to St. Paul, Minnesota from the Netherlands. And his name is Hamline, Bishop Hamline. And then we are actually the first university in Minnesota. We was founded in 1854. And I've been at this university for almost, I would say, 20 and a half years. I originally from Bangkok, Thailand, grew up in Bangkok, Thailand. So I'm actually been all over the world quite a bit. And because I was a news journalist, before I started my master's degree in international communication, so I started to learn about media technology from the almost very beginning, I would say. And the past 30 decades, I have learned a lot about how communication, media technology have changed people's life. Besides influencing public opinion about what we think about ourselves, about others, and about the world, we have to know and think and analyze how to use technology wisely. That's my position at the very beginning. So the latest one that people are talking about is AI. Artificial intelligence. I believe everyone in this room is aware, know, or have heard about it, what an AI is. But I have one question for you, a few questions. First, how many of you have social media accounts? The apps? Everyone? Everything? TikTok? Not TikTok, okay. Facebook, WhatsApp, Snapchat, YouTube, yeah, Instagram. All right. Have you ever read the terms of services and privacy rights? Why not? You trust them? You trust what you downloaded on your phone? You just accept it because do you know how long the terms of conditions? So how long? Nope. This stack. It was in the parliament, the US Congress. They had to carry 2 boxes. That's the reason why everyone just click to accept it. But when you accept the terms and conditions, the services, you accept to become their, please listen carefully, the commodity. You're giving them the right to access the information about who you are. Am I making sense? So that's how they could gather the data and developed the AI, artificial intelligence, because when you have the more data, the more they can put things together. Have you heard about ChatGPT? Yep. Because with the data, ChatGPT can actually write what they already know about you. Am I making sense? That's what they're developing. So, there's one thing about it is when you think about it, have you heard or have you ever compared the content when you Google search or Bing search or use the internet search? Is the content exactly the same as your family members, friends, your classmates, the professors if you type exactly the same topic? Are you aware? Exactly the same. For example, if you want to type Georgia new energy, you want to try? If you do the Google, and will you get exactly the same articles? Why not? Shouldn't it be the same? If they're the same facts, should they be the same? Why would they be different? Because they tailor on your preference and previous searches, or if you never searched before. Even advertising, are you aware? If you type Adidas, sorry, I don't like Adidas. Nike, for example, would they fight? Am I correct? Will you get the same ads? Nike might say, well, yeah, the Nike sweatshop or Adidas fans. And if you are Google fans, you've been using, not Google, I'm sorry, Apple fans, you know that the price of the products are higher. Yep. Why? Why? Because you at related to them, you are their loyal customers or users. They know your data. Am I making sense? I'm not trying to scare you guys, but this is what we need to talk about it because we agree when we download the app. Yep.
Yeah, even for example, I have several cases when, for example, me and my wife were speaking that tomorrow we're going to buy something, for example,
Yep.
Nike.
Nike, yeah.
And
Yep.
I'm opening my smartphone and I see the advertisement of Nike.
Yeah, because
Nike store. So
yeah,
this
yeah.
call you and send you apps for.
Even the price these days, people buy things on Amazon. You don't get the same price for exact same product based on your previous purchases. Yep. So that's something to think about. So oftentimes what I want to talk about is we tend to think about technology as progressiveness, advancement, something that will make the world a better place. Yes, if they are created for those purposes, we can make the world a better place. But oftentimes, technologies these days related back to lobbyists, think tank. I have several of my former students who are working at Google, and then they came back to give a talk about this. For example, even within Google company, they split into two sides, the ethics side and the profit side. You want to make money, but how? Think about designing. When you design your technology, do you feel like you will have a heart attack if you don't keep looking at your phone after 5 minutes? Or will you hear ghost bus? Are you aware that they actually, these computer designers, I'm sorry, they have to take persuasive psychology. It's like you playing Russian roulette in order to get your attention, to get your data. So if you don't hear that ghost buzzing or feel nervous all the time, but the more you click, the more you stay with your phone, the more profit they make. Am I making sense? Yes, because we tend to think that technology will just move us toward all the best part of the world. Oftentimes we forget or don't think about who are behind the scenes. Are we being controlled? Because we've been in this media forever. How many of you guys are aware? I'm sorry. Can I call you guys, you guys? I'm so American now. Who invented the internet? The military, yes. To the purpose? Spy. Are we in full circle now? You can see, in order to get the data, and then because of the influence of the lobbyists and think tank, the tech companies, if you take a look at how much they spend the money to influence public policy in the United States, you will understand. Facebook got in trouble, right? But the role of AI, there are three things. AI's main thing. AI's mean artificial intelligence, but actually the main roles, artificial intelligence created by what we call algorithms. The system that they gather the data, and algorithm will go right one way. And then the other one, machine learning. Machine learning is trying to understand who we are. But algorithm for the AI that being created right now, they want to be independent and think independently based on the data that we provide to them. So the information that something's happening is, information could be based on false data. And AI can track us to one way based on the false information. Guys, see? That's why you don't see the same thing. Because the system created that track based on the algorithm. Coding just that one. So what actually does it mean? This is not unusual. We are in communication, we understand. People, this is our human nature. When the designers understand human nature and then psychology, human beings have what we call cognitive consistency. When we don't hear what we don't want to hear, what do? We tell people, sorry, fuck you. Emotion anchor. If we don't get enough likes, you guys understand, right? Because this is our cognitive consistency. We have dinner. Like in the US, we have Thanksgiving dinner, and then oftentimes people will fight within the grandma, grandpa, and then conservative, liberal, and then they're just fighting each other. But when you design the technology, media to influence people that way, sorry, this is moving too fast. People checking the social media apps all the time. Political information, national information, security information, all the information from the apps. examples you can tell. I actually didn't see. Is this Mr. Trump?
That's the president of Iceland.
Oh,
President of Iceland.
I see. Yeah. But you've heard the Capitol riots because Trump posted thing on Twitter and then it keeps one way. So people roam into that. Facebook, Cambridge Analytica work with the company, technology company, in order to gather voters' data to influence the vote. This week, actually, the riots in France, we read the news saying that actually the anger spread based on TikTok and social media. And then it went all over across the country. Although, of course, the problems, issues might be already there, but have not been discussed or talked about it, right? But the divisiveness, anger, problems, violence could be caused by the algorithm that people only see and hear over and over and over and over again. That's
2011 revolutions in Egypt
yes, that's right.
started by
Yep,
Facebook.
yep, Arab Spring. We thought that would be good,
Yeah.
but later on it turned into the opposite way.
It was still good, but
It still, yep.
when the Muslim Brotherhood invaded for a year, and it was by democracy, by the way.
Yeah, that's
We
right.
didn't feel okay about it
No.
at all.
Not at all. And then that's why some of the speakers also mentioned why we only focus on Ukraine. There's a lot of things going on in third world countries. For example, I'm originally from Bangkok, Thailand, right? During the COVID lockdown, the Thai king, the monarchy, they came to Bavaria, stay in the palace until Chancellor Merkel kicked them out. They said, why you weren't with your people? You ran away, but we don't hear anything about those at all. Because this is keep pumping in order to influence the public opinion. Yep. Sorry, it's coming because don't have the internet. So these are the things that are ongoing based on what we only see: wars, crime, terrorist attacks, and then global security. You see how interconnected this can be? And right now, what's going on is something to think about as well, because in every country or the powerful countries, they are fighting to win the war of AI. They want to be the leaders. Have anyone talked about the regulation and the impact and the ethics? When you want to win, by gathering the information data of global citizens across the borders, okay, because this is the digital. So it can go anywhere. So what could we do? In the US, there's lacking behind about the regulation. Like I mentioned before, because of the think tank, lobbyists, the tech giants. But at least in the EU, we're starting to talk about it. If it's possible to have, right, the AI Act, still under negotiation on the table, something you should really think about. And the other one is, may I please ask you one question? How many phones you already have in your life? How many? 10. Apple 14 already? Where do they go? Throw trash. Never get recycled. You take a look, how are they composed? The chips, the phones, the data, lithium, cobalt. And we are talking about sustainability. Are you aware that we're going to war with China because China is one of the biggest countries that produce chips? And right now we also, Taiwan, yep. And then also bombing the Congo to mine lithium and cobalt. And Norway, nickel mining up there. Are you aware that part of this also toxic to the environment? So what actually should we do? So that should be a lot of conversation and knowledge to be raised, discussed internationally in order to talk about global peace and security. Because it's not just to get liked based on what we like or see and hear. Sorry, did I destroy your day? Oh. Yeah, we have, I think it is our task, everyone together, when we know knowledge is the power, and we can help each other across the world. Because oftentimes, what we see and hear based on what we want to see and hear. So now people know what we want to see and hear. They use algorithm and AI to navigate us toward that direction. And on top of that, they will make us think that way. Yep. Thank you, everyone. Any questions? Yep.
Hello. Coming back to the point of privacy policy, I just previewed the privacy policy of TikTok very soon, and I seen something really interesting. It was written the usage of writing patterns and rhythms, which can be really harmful and harmful for like personal data, and this data is called biometric data.
Yeah.
When I check from the law perspective, I realize that in the U.S. there's only one state has a regulation on biometric data, is Illinois. And my question is about this, like why government cannot regulate law on these issues? Because from the like a producer side or from the side of apps, I can understand because data is value. But from the governments, why this is so weak?
Great question. Because in the US, oftentimes policy happens because of the negotiation. You don't have the federal law. So the state will have to invent or come up with their own law first. And then afterwards, if it works, they will go to the federal laws. But who influence the federal laws and regulation? Go back to the lobbyists again, because they really have to go to, right, the White House. And right now, they are focusing on the election next year. You can see Trump and Joe Biden are coming back. Don't laugh, I'm sorry. Yeah. So it's all about who behind the scene. So the state, for example, very similar situation is anti-abortion law. It's not across the country. Federal law, federal regulations, and then state laws. Yep, we have to start from the state first. Yep. Yep. Sunap, yep.
Yeah. So, speaking about the issue of privacy, speaking about the issue of privacy, I attended last October in Katowice as well, in Poland, the Economics Without Border. And as you have highlighted also, that after the meeting, a couple of days, I found a list on my Facebook, people you may know.
Yeah.
Okay, and
Yeah.
this
Yep.
happens all the time. And I found a list of all the participants in the Economics Without Borders in Poland, and I was in Cairo already. So it was a kind of scary, as you
Yep.
say.
Yep, exactly.
So this is one thing. The other thing is that I like your perspective a lot because I'm in the middle of writing a piece of manuscript for the Oxford University related to the impact of artificial intelligence on our organizational behavior components, on the employees themselves. Are we going to be replaced soon by the cybernetics?
Exactly.
So this is a concept that was highlighted by myself and other colleagues, and I would like to highlight some things maybe later with you across emails or something. So thank you very much for the presentation.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. And then, you know, your face, you have a lot of photos. They can be Photoshop, tailor, and clone digitally, easily, and then post it as it's you as well. So something, this is especially with the organizations when you work, because if you apply for a job at a certain university or some employees, they might look you up. Yeah.
It takes 2 seconds. Just a comment to the lady. She's scary about what happened with the photos of the people you may know. Is also happening that's why some people we put stickers on the webcam or on the computers because they can really open the webcam for you even if the light doesn't come out.
Yep.
And then sometimes, I don't know, people realize sometimes you have a conversation with somebody and suddenly the ads are related to the product that you were talking with that friend. So the speaker of your phone is also open in that way. It's using for
Yes.
marketing purposes, but sometimes can go beyond marketing. Well, that's not scary. The most scary, for example, is when they are building servers with AI, and suddenly you realize that they are communicating each other, the servers, but they are communicating in a language that they created in order not to be understood by the humans. And this had happened in Google, and they had to disconnect the power of the servers
Yep.
to avoid the problem. So that is scary. Do you know the movie Terminator? Maybe you will laugh about what I am saying, but if we are not careful, maybe it's not going to be something else than a movie in the future.
I would recommend you can watch the documentary film. It's called AI Dilemma. It's made by the Center of Humane Technology in the US, because there's quite a few whistleblowers who are working for these tech companies who step up and then try to raise awareness. However, because our attention span is very low, I think one of the speakers also mentioned about this one. Microsoft did a study. An average attention span of American media users is, guess, 8 seconds. Microsoft Bill Gates study that. That's why you can see TikTok came up with only 10 seconds, or Twitter. Yep.
Open your microphone on the back.
Hi, I'm Sai. I'm from the Philippines. I'm a millennial. I have all of the apps that you mentioned earlier. I used to be a social media manager for the German embassy. So basically, I've been on social media half of my professional career. And I really liked your presentation because it alerts us to the reality that we have right now. I could connect the fact that you mentioned about technology as this ideal, we have this ideal purpose for technology, and I could connect that with the presentations earlier about democracy. Democracy is an ideal political arrangement. But at the same time, the way towards democracy or how we deal with democracy sometimes is used by elites or the people behind the screwdriver, the mechanics of how we function as a democratic country. And I experienced that in the Philippines. We do have similar experiences with Thailand and the Philippines, one of the top democracies in Southeast Asia, yet not so good. Also, I'm glad that that you raise the scary part about technology and AI, because it does bring fear, and because AI is one step ahead of us now. But what I want to comment is that I think what we have to do now is to accept that this is the reality, that this is a fact of reality.
Yep.
And we should learn to be one step ahead of AI instead of AI being one step ahead of us. My recommendation is, why not put a curriculum in high school level to discuss technology and society. We had a thematic course in our university on how science and technology functions in society.
Yep.
And I think that's one of the things that we need to consider now, to reformulate our curriculum so that our students, our young people who are going to grow up with this technology will have the skills, will have the knowledge, will have the information in order for them not to fall into the trap of being the commodity of AI or of the digital industry. Because even as a millennial, I do believe I've fallen into some of the traps, and I've never really read the whole terms and conditions. So I really appreciate the presentation that you raised, our awareness, but we should also take a step forward.
Yep, we have to do the media literacy. Since the children are very young, extremely important. But these days, because parents use the technology as what they call pacifier. So when the kids are not paying attention or not doing, they get bored. What do? Stick with them the iPhone or the iPad. So if we could integrate that as the knowledge since they are young, that would be very useful across the borders, though, because I grew up with, I think I told, right, with television, and then I was addicted to television since I was like 6 years old. Didn't have anything to do, just sat and then watch television. So you will have ADHD. You cannot, stay focused on trying to analyze or think. But is it the easiest way to control the world population?
Rules and regulations, maybe.
Exactly that.
Remember the movie Eagle Eye? When
Yeah.
I watched this movie, it was in the early 2000s, and I thought that it would never happen. But it's happening. AI is like
It's
Eagle
right
Eye.
here. Yes, that's right. So if we have regulations for food industry, car industry, school systems, pharmaceutical industry, should we have regulation for AI and robots? Because if we have WHO, WTO, FDA, USDA, we should do exactly the same thing. And we need everyone in this room to talk about it. Yep.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Christian. I was wondering, when we talk about how to deal with this in the future and what to learn, that we are prepared for this technology. The young ones in the curriculum, but also the older ones. My major idea is that we have to learn how we tell stories about ourselves. That's what we constantly do. So we try to find a reconfirmation of an image that shows us the way we want us, or we want ourselves to be seen by others, and also, most importantly, the stories how we want to see ourselves. And I think this artificial intelligence, after a while, knows so much better who we want to be, how we want to be seen, and what stories suit best to create the image that we want to have of ourselves. And how to deal with this, we need to learn how to tell stories. And we need to know and learn that we are constantly creating our own story about ourselves. And how do we deal with this? I remember we went to the European House talking about disinformation, and there was only one voice. One of the guys on the podium said that that's just normal, that someone who needs a car, who lives outside a city, would rather believe that climate change is not so severe, and therefore he doesn't need to abandon his car. And I thought, this is very logic. That's completely the story we want to tell ourselves, because it suits us, how we want to look at ourselves. And if the climate change is not so bad, then I can keep my car, and I'm not a bad person. And that's exactly what we need to learn, not only how to use the technology, but also what we create for ourselves constantly, and how the technology feeds into this constantly.
Exactly that. Remember the concept of being a human, we have this cognitive consistency. It got to be with us, our identity, our cultural baggage, our identity. That's why social media is making profits from what we call FOMO, fear of missing out. So a lot of TikTokers making money from the likes based on the story that they're telling about themselves, which is tend to be very emotional, anger, and that route divisive. If it's logical, you're not really making money, because when you talk about logic, it's very in-depth and it's very detailed and it's boring.
I have one more comment that I just remembered.
Yep.
Relating technology, AI, or social media to democracy, because in our last elections, TikTok was very influential in creating or influencing the voting population. So a lot of I wasn't active on TikTok at that time, or I was just restarting my TikTok journey. But I heard a lot on the news and in our circles that there was a point during the electoral campaign where there were a lot of disinformation that was being spewed out from TikTok users. At the very least, I was not affected because my algorithm was dancing videos, motivation videos, and just pure fun. You know, I didn't follow any political TikTok users or profiles at the time. I only started afterwards, but yeah, it does make an impact because it has become the tool that changed or directed a lot of our population into voting a former dictator's son into the presidency.
Exactly, that's how it's influenced our brain. I wanna close with a positive note, if that's okay. Do you have your phone with you? Can you open YouTube? You're talking about telling the story. So if you could search, I just need butter. I just need butter on YouTube. I just need butter. Butter, yep. What do you find? internet drama. Can you play the music, please? That's your advertising completely different. Please. That's the one.
This is more bridging to other cultures. We now learn about other cultures.
So we are on the same page. Everyone got butter. So after this, we just have to go have dinner. And don't forget your butter. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you again. Let's express our sincere gratitude. Thank you.